Let's get started. So, and now I shall turn into a TV presenter. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Always Keep Learning, the second in a series of webinars from the Association of Professional Property Investors. I'm Simon Evison. Welcome along. Always keep learning. That is basically what every successful property investor does on a continual basis. Why? Well, if not, well, frankly, you sort of get left behind. Let me give you an example. Over the years that I've been running seminars and similar sort of stuff, I've met loads of investors and at these sorts of events, you know, live and in person. And I've met a few who've said things like, I've been investing in property for 20 years and it just doesn't work anymore. And there's a simple reason why, and that's because they're doing the same thing they were doing 20 years ago. Yeah. So my point is, it's critical to the success of your property business, no matter how large or small, that you update yourself regularly. So congratulations for joining us. Well done. Our special guest and one of the founder members that is with us this evening, Toby Spanier, will be sharing with us his knowledge on securing planning approval, which if you've ever been involved or had to apply for planning permission, it can be a fairly tricky course to navigate. And I'm sure Toby will agree with me. He's nodding. Well, Lindsay's nodding anyway. Obviously, we'll be only scratching the surface on this, but I can guarantee that there will be some golden nuggets shared with you by Toby, and you will get value from tonight. Also, I'm talking with our founder and chairman, Lindsay Hopkins. He will be sharing with you some of the essential information about the Association of Professional Property Investors, and we'll also be chatting with Leanne Hennigan, the other face you can see there on the screen. Another one of our founder members, and she understands the value of growing her knowledge and continuing to learn, and we'll talk a little bit about the useful knowledge she's gained from other members of the A.P.P.I. and also explain how she continues to do so. And by the end of this webinar, we'll show you how you can get involved. People don't always join us, but by the end of this presentation, many do. So, Lindsay, let me come to you first, because I can see you're chomping at the bit. You're raring to go, excited.
Yeah. Chomping.
Excited. People will be asking the question, I'm sure, what is the Association of Professional Property Investors?
The A.P.P.I is a support group. It's a collaboration of property investors. It is created by property investors for property investors. It encompasses anybody where property touches a side. So it can be the sourcing agents. It can be from anybody who's doing buy-to-lets to developments and so on and so forth. It's very, very different from anything else. It has multiple avenues of support. I'm sure I'm going to say that many times this evening. So it's not just for information. It's for support, networking. It's for collaboration. It's for buddying. It's for interfacing with the industry. But the key thing is, it's been built by us, and it's growing for us. And without question, one of the main purposes of this evening, apart from listening to fantastic Toby, is to invite everybody listening to join, please, and get involved, because the larger we get, the louder our voice. Okay, there you go. Boom.
Thank you. That's great. Louder the voice. I think landlords and property investors are often ignored. Yeah. I mean, if you see some of the headlines at the moment, I just read one is our trusts and Kwarteng, let me just get it back, risking the viability of buy-to-let, but let's not get into that. You talked about the support and collaboration aspect of the A.P.P.I, Lindsay. How long does that support last? I know that's something people will want to know.
Sure. This doesn't have a time fuse at all. So basically, you join the association, and it is forever as long as you are a member. And ultimately, all of us will sign a code of conduct in terms of how we look after each other, how we look after our tenants, how we look after and communicate with our service providers. And it is forever. It is going to be and is growing to become and will become a kite mark that means something. That means we differentiate ourselves, that we are the good people, we're the good landlords. And so the answer is the support is forever, ongoing.
Yeah. And there's different types of support that you mentioned already. You talked about buddy system.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned yet, but we will talk a little bit more about Solve My Property Problem Network event.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different kinds of support. So, I mean, that's amazing. Imagine if you can, the kind of how valuable that kind of support will be. If, and I'm talking to our guests, our attendees, if you want to have more success with your investing, you must have this kind of support. Now, our first guest speaker, as well as offering his support on the Solve My Property Problem Network event, which, as I said, we'll talk about a little bit more about later, is Toby Spanier. Hello, Toby. Welcome.
Hello.
Now, you are an experienced investor with know-how across a number of different strategies, but tonight you're specifically going to talk to us about planning, aren't you?
I am indeed, yes.
Amazing. And as I said, it's sort of in my intro, it can be a tricky course to navigate. So over to you. Navigate that course for us as best you can.
Right, well, let me firstly share my screen, and hopefully you can all see that. How to secure planning permission. Now, the market's getting tougher, interest rates are going up, but it's always a good time to be in property. And as you said earlier, Simon, the way to make money in property is to constantly learn. And as the market's getting a bit more difficult from a financial perspective, the way we make money is we start doing this thing, planning permission. This is a very inexpensive way to create huge uplift in the values of the properties that we buy. So even if you're starting out and you're just doing the most sort of straightforward buy-to-let, at some point you will need to get planning permission. At some point, probably what you're doing on a refurb involves planning. You may not even realize it, but you have permitted developments to do various things that don't require you to fill in forms. But planning is very much at the heart of creating value in property. So I want on the screen now is an image from a film, and the film is called. Do you know what this film is, Lindsay? Can you recognise this?
I think it's The Matrix.
Very, very good. Now, what I'd like people to do is click on the chat button, and if you've seen the Matrix or heard of the Matrix, write yes. If you haven't, write no. I just want to have a sense of who knows about it. So we at least got one person. Two, this is good. Got a couple of people. Okay. So some people have heard of this film before. That is very helpful, but I presume some people haven't because I haven't had yeses from everybody. Oh, so Rob hasn't seen it before. So in the film, it's basically kind of a virtual reality type film. But in the film, the guy on the right, who is called Neo, has superpowers, but he doesn't realize he has superpowers. And the guy on the left is called Morpheus, and he's his mentor. And his job is to make Neo realize he has superpowers. And these superpowers aren't physical superpowers. These superpowers are mental powers, mindset. Neo just needs to realize that he is fantastic and amazing and can do amazing things. And that's basically what happens within the Matrix. And my job tonight, in the next 20 minutes, I don't have a long period of time, is to be Morpheus. I need to be the mentor. And all of you on this Zoom are Neo. You all have superpowers. It's a mindset, and what I need to do is to help you get that mindset. Now, we may not get all the way today, but we can certainly make a start. And in the film, Morpheus says to Neo, what you must learn is that these rules are no different different than the rules of computer systems. So they're in this virtual reality world. What you're seeing isn't the real world, it's just a virtual reality world. And then Morpheus says, some of these rules can be bent, others can be broken. Now, what I want to tell you is that planning in the UK is a rules-based system. What you must learn is these rules are no different than the rules of a computer system. Some of them can be bent, others can be broken. And what I'm going to do in the next 19 minutes is try to explain some of these rules. Now, the first thing to mention is planning is a rule-based system, and rules go both ways. Rules can count against you, but once you understand the rules, you can make the rules work for you. And that's really the part of this quote about bending rules or breaking rules. It's really following the rules, but following the rules in a way that works for you. So the first thing I need to do is to cover a little bit of theory, because planning is a huge topic and you need to have a bit of a framework understanding of it before we dive into it. So what do you need planning permission for? Now, what you've seen at the moment is a screenshot of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990. And at the bottom of the page, it says, paragraph 55, subject to development, blah, blah, blah. Development means the carrying out of building, engineering, mining, and other operations, or the making of any material change in the use of a building. So you need planning permission when you are doing demolition of building, rebuilding, structural stuff, or if you're making a material change to a building. What is a material change, you ask? So that's the next bit of theory, and then we're going to dive into the real practice around this. What you're seeing at the moment is a table with different use classes, and back in September 2020, the use class system was changed and simplified. So you can see the old system had a shop was A1 and a bank was A2 and a cafe was A3. All of these things got simplified into E class. And what the use class means is that if you remain within the same letter, any work you do is not a material change, and therefore you do not need to get planning permission. So if you wanted, for example, you can see on the bottom of the page, there's a gymnasium or indoor recreations. Used to be a D2, it's now a Class C. If you wanted to take a gym and change it into a restaurant, that's a huge amount of change that you need to do, but it's not considered a material change. So you can just basically just go and do it. You send in a form to the council saying, I'm doing it. And they have to say yes. So these are the concepts I want to get into people's head. It's not how much work you're doing to the building, it's whether you are making a material change. A material change is all about whether you're going from one use to another use. And if you remain within the same use, it's not a material change, which means you can do a lot of things without actually needing to ask for planning approval. You just tell the council that you're doing it and they go, yeah, fine, and send you a bit of paper to say absolutely fine. So as I said, planning is a rule-based system. There's three things you need to kind of know as part of this system. Firstly, there's this national framework. And what the national framework does is it tells you what you're allowed to do. So in the national framework, it says you can't build new houses in the green belts unless you follow these 7 specific exemptions. And that's it, you know. So the national framework comes first. You've got to follow it, but it's a very short document. You know, there used to be something like 30 documents of 60, 70 pages each. It was summarized. It was a massive delete exercise to form this national framework. It's one document. It's about 60 pages, and it's at a very high level. So there were lots of guidance documents, which were 30, 40 pages. They became just one bullet point in this national framework. So that's where you go to understand what you are allowed and what you aren't allowed to do. Next thing is the local framework. And this is where anything that wasn't mentioned in the national framework, which might be relevant. So for example, let's say Blackpool, you know, you've got a tourist town, and the national framework doesn't say anything about tourism. The local framework will say what's allowed, you know, are A, B and B's allowed? Is there an area where you can put A, B and B's? Is there an area where they prefer to have HMS? That's all within the local framework. And then the third thing is this national guidance. And these are other bits of documentation that are meant to help you do what you want to do. When I say help, I mean, you know, planning is a rule-based system. So if you don't follow these guidance, it's you're going to get a planning refusal. And the one I want to focus on today, which is my favorite one, is called the Technical Housing Standards Nationally Described Space Standard. Obviously, they're not marketeers, but basically, I mean, this is a document from 2015. It's been around for a long, long time. But there was a case called the Watford case where some idiot went and got planning permit, took a building and created 15 flats and didn't put any windows in any of the flats. Now, obviously, this was a step 1 and there was going to be a step 2. I've no idea what the step 2 was, but it was such an egregious, stupid thing to do. And it just sounded so wrong. The government said, we've got to do something about this. And there was already this technical standards that had been written, and the government says, right, now this standard is mandatory. And so let's go into the standard, because if you understand the standards, this applies to every single thing you want to do in development, in new build, in conversions. If you don't follow the standards, it's an automatic refusal. If you do follow the standard, it's pretty much kind of automatic tick in the box. So here it is. And this is what I love about this standard, is 2 pages long and 1 table. And that's it. That's all there is to it. There's only 2 pages. And it's amazing. You talk to architects, and I do like architects, and I work with many of them, and some are brilliant. And you say, do you understand planning? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Do you understand the technical standards? Yeah, I've read it. It's okay. well, let's go through some examples and see if they really do understand it. But by the end of this 20 minutes, you will understand this really very, very well. But I want to simplify it for you. And I definitely want to simplify it for you, Lindsay, because I will be picking on you. So
Okay.
there are these technical requirements, but there are 3 golden rules. I'm going to call them the Spaniard golden rules. Rule number 1, I'm going to translate the technical requirements. You must comply with the minimum size requirement. Does that make sense, Lindsay? We're going to come on to what their size requirement is.
Yes,
Rule number 2, a single bedroom is 7.5 square meters. Can you remember that? Yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Rule number 3, a double bedroom is 11.5 square meters.
Okay.
Are you cool with these 3 rules?
Yes, I love them.
Right, so the minimum size rule, and this is the table. So how this table works, you've got number of bedrooms, and you've got number of people, and then you've got sizes. So a 1-bedroom, 2-person flat or dwelling has to be at least 50 square meters if it's on 1 story, or 58 if it's on 2 stories. A 4-bedroom, 5-person house on 1 level has to be 90 square meters, and on 3 levels has to be a minimum of 103. Does that all make sense? Yeah. So
yes,
we're cool on how to use this table. Fantastic. Now, Lindsay, you've been in property for how many years roughly?
100.
100 years. So you're very experienced.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's just these 3 rules which we've gone through. So this is going to be a cinch. So here's a scenario. Your architect has designed the following layouts for your property. Are they compliant with the national space standards? So here's layout number 1, a 45 square meter flat with a bathroom, 5 square meters, kitchen, 8 square meters, living room, 20 square meters, and 1 bedroom, 12 square meters. Is this compliant? So the table's there to make it easy for you.
32, 37, 37, 40, 40, 44, 44, and where
it's 45 square meters in total, this flat.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got 1 bedroom.
1 bedroom. So,
is it allowed?
No.
Why is it not allowed?
It should be 50.
Why should it be 50?
Because it's we don't know. I was looking at 51-story dwelling, 1 bedroom.
1 story, 1 bedroom.
Am I looking at the wrong chart? The wrong bit?
I can see the 50. So the 50 is 1 bedroom, 2 people, 50 square meters.
Yeah. But I guess, I mean, the cop out would be I'd hopefully check with my architect, but there you go.
This is your architect. This is what is produced.
Oh, I see.
Would this be approved? Would this be approved by the planners?
No.
Yes or no? No. Well done, Lindsay. Correct. Do you know why it wouldn't be approved?
I think it is too small. It doesn't comply with the...
No, 45 square meters is more than 39 square meters. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But what was rule number 3?
It's come off the screen, so I don't know.
Rule number 1 is you've got to comply with these sizes. Rule number 2 is a single bedroom is at least 7.5 square meters. And rule number 3 is a double bedroom is 11.5. So your architect has shown a bedroom is 12 square meters, and that means it has to be for 2 people, because 12 square meters is more than 11.5. So if it's for 2 people, then you have to have a 1-bed, 2-person, and therefore you need 50 square meters.
Right. Okay.
That's why this doesn't work. If the architect put 11 square meters for the bedroom, absolutely fine. This is more than 39 square meters or 37 square meters, and so it would be approved. Let's go on to the next one. You're on a roll here. A 37 square meter flat with a shower room, kitchen, diner, living room, master bedroom, and a guest bedroom of 7 square meters. Is this allowed or not allowed?
Okay. I mean, this is a bit like roulette, Toby. So,
Well, how many bedrooms have we got?
Okay, I have got 2.
Okay, and so 2 bedrooms.
So I'm looking at between the 61 and the 70, and I'm then looking at the
61 and 70. So
okay, I'm
is
then
this
looking
big
at
enough?
the room sizes. I'm then looking at the room sizes, thinking, okay, one's a double bedroom and one's a single, so therefore it's 3 people, 61 square meters, and
so you're saying this shouldn't be allowed because it's not 61 square meters, it's 37.
Yeah, it's too small. It's too small.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. Now,
Oh.
why are you wrong, Lindsay? What was rule number 2?
Okay.
Can you remember rule number 2?
Yeah, it's a single room size.
A single bedroom has to be 7.5 square meters.
Yeah.
Here we've got a guest bedroom, which is less than 7.5. If a bedroom is less than 7.5, it is not a bedroom.
Right.
So if your architect was to show a master bedroom and call the guest bedroom study, then this would be approved.
Right.
How crazy is that? But this is the thing. The rules seem really simple, but if you don't understand how they are applied, you always get a cross, not a tick.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
All right, let's go on. 49 square meter flats with a huge living open diner. Is that allowed?
49. Okay. With the
yeah, obviously it's 1 bedroom.
Yeah.
And it's got a bathroom and then just a huge open plan space.
So it's.
Would this be approved or would this be rejected?
Okay, I'm thinking we're going. Okay, I'm nervous now, Toby.
Right, it's going to be rejected,
okay.
And the reason it's going to be rejected, you probably haven't got a clue. But what was rule number
1?
What was rule number 3?
To do the double.
Yeah, what size do you need for a double bedroom?
12, 11.
11.5. Okay. Yeah. Now the issue with this so the planning authorities don't understand studios, right? Yeah. And the issue with this design is that you just got a really big room. Now, if you've got a really big room, how big is the bedroom? Well, the bedroom is 44 square meters, but it also includes a living room, dining room, and a kitchen. But because you don't know where the bedroom starts or stops, it's all just one big thing. It means the bedroom is more than 11.5 square meters. And if the bedroom is more than 11.5 square meters, it has to be for 2 people. And 2 people, we can see 1 bedroom, 2 people is 50 square meters. So unfortunately, although 49 is massive, it's if your architect had drawn some 2 walls around the corner where the bedroom the bed was, and it was 11 meters, tick. So you can see the rules are kind of simple, but actually they're really easy to fall by the wayside. And of course, if a planning authority doesn't want you to have planning permission, they're just going to use these rules to say no.
Yeah,
game
intriguing.
over. Right, we're going to race to another few. A 75 square meter house with a master bedroom and a guest bedroom. So obviously those are both double bedrooms.
Yeah.
So
4 people.
Yeah.
So 70. So that's okay.
Why is it not okay? Because it's a house. And what's a house?
Okay.
A house has to be more than 1 level. You can't have a house on 1 level. A house has stairs. And if it has stairs, therefore it's a 2-story dwelling. And a 2-story dwelling has to be 79 square meters. Right, so can you see how you think, I'll leave this to my architect. My architect knows what he's doing. He knows about these rules. It'll absolutely fine. And then you wait 3 months. You might be on bridging, and then you find you haven't got your planning permission because of a silly mistake. And then the last one, a 60 square meter house with a ground floor, first floor, and an attic floor. So how many floors do we have, Lindsay? 3. And what's the minimum size you need for a 3-story dwelling?
90.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is allowed. Why?
Okay.
Because, let me explain, an attic floor, a floor within the eaves or within the roof, is not a story in planning terms. Doesn't count as a story. So a 2-story house with a converted attic is just a 2-story building. It's not a 3-story building. So this is the interesting thing. The attic space can be used as part of the overall floor dimensions, but it doesn't count as a story. Now, it doesn't say that anywhere within the space standards. You just got to learn it. Because if you don't learn it, you usually fall by the wayside. Wow. So is that helpful? I mean, I hope I haven't sort of totally bamboozled you, but I wanted to show that even something as simple as this table can actually be quite complex, and it's very easy to make little mistakes. And what we want to do is not make any mistakes, because if we don't make any mistakes, then the planners always have to say yes, even if they don't want to.
It is, but you could use this to sort of almost say to the architect or the planner, hang on a minute, have you got it right? Have you got it right? So
exactly.
Ultimately, it's your house, and therefore, if they get it wrong, they go, oh, sorry, I got it wrong. But that's the point. Is its implications on financing, etc., as you say, is immense, aren't they? Yeah,
it can be very painful. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of where I've used this to my advantage. As I said earlier, some of the rules can be bent, some can be broken. So this is a property. How am I on time?
Well, Toby, quick question. Leanne popped something in the chat box there. Where do dormer bungalows.
dormers in the
Are they
roof.
2 stories?
It's still two.
stories?
I mean, the planners call them 2.5 stories. Like when you've got a story in the roof, it's a half. If it was
What
like
if it's a
full height
bungalow
ceiling,
with a
it'd be 2
dormer?
stories. So a dormer's in the attic space, and therefore, if you've got a 2-story building and then another in the roof, you've got dormers. It's still a 2-story building in planning terms. It comes under this 2-story column, not the 3-story column.
Okay.
How long have I got, by the way? Because I can't see time at the moment. So, somebody, if you give me a...
we're okay. Between 5 and 10 minutes.
Cool. Let me give you 2 examples of where I've used it. So, here's a property that I acquired on a purchase list option. It's a massive 14-bed illegal HMO when I acquired it. And my job was to sort of get planning and regularize. I had no planning, had no license, it was a complete mess, had squatters in it. So this is the layout. There were 10 bedrooms in the main house, and then there were another 4 bedrooms in this little ancillary annex. And I wanted to get planning for the 10 bedrooms because it already had 10 bedrooms. And so I put my plans in, and then an article came in the local press that said, oh, we don't like HMOs, we don't like Toby Spanier, and he's taking lovely family homes and make them into nasty, horrible big HMOs. It's totally untrue, because this thing had been an HMO since 2001, before HMOs were even called HMOs. Anyway, it also had somewhere, it said, click here if you don't like HMOs. And when you clicked on it, it took you straight to the planning portal where you can make complaints. And people say, I don't like HMOs. But that planning portal was under my application. And as soon as you got 4 complaints, it automatically kicks your application to committee. And that's not a good place to be, because committee is always going to say no, and they know nothing about planning. So even when they should say yes, they'll say no. So what I did is I very quickly went back and said, no, it's not 10 bedrooms. We have a utility room rather than a bedroom. And because I renamed one of the rooms and called it utility room on the ground floor in that right corner, the planning authority had to reissue all the letters. You know, they write to all the local neighbours.
Yeah,
so
sure.
to reissue it to all the neighbours and ask for comments. And of course, people who commented already commented. The newspaper article had already happened, so there were no comments. And because there were no comments, the planner just had to say, well, is this compliant with the national space standards? Oh, it is. Approve. So they went from, we hate HMOs and want to get rid of them, to, we just got to approve this one. So that just tiny tweak. Something else you can see on here, we've got this house at the back, which, well, it was an extension, but I've now got plans to make it a separate house. Can you see it says main entrance, 58.9 square meters. Now, what was the minimum for a 1-bedroom house? It was 58 square meters. So this is now big enough to be a separate house. And what do you notice upstairs, Lindsay? We have 1 bedroom, 14 square meters. And then what else do we have? You probably can't see.
I can see a study.
Study. And what's the size of the study?
Do you know what? I can't see that, Toby.
7.3. And why is it 7.3? Because 7.3 is less than 7.5. If that was 7.5, it would be a 2-bedroom. And then 58 square meters would be too small. But because it can't be a bedroom, because any room that's less than 7.5 square meters cannot in planning terms be a bedroom. It's something else. There's another room. Then I only have to comply with the 1-bedroom standard, which is 58 square meters. Now, when I've refurbished it and I've rented it out, the estate agents are going to come out. How are they going to advertise this property? They're going to advertise it as a 1-bedroom property? No, they're going to advertise it as a 2-bedroom property. And when the tenants move in, what's it going to be? It's going to be a 2-bedroom property. Right. So you just got to navigate the planning bits, but how things are used has got nothing to do with planning. They've got no power. They only have power on the day that they make the decision of whether something is allowed or not allowed. So that's example number 1. Here's example number 2. So a commercial building I purchased. It's the middle bit. This is the existing layout. I've got my architect to do plans to convert the upper stories, which are empty, into flats, 1 flat per floor. And this is what he came up with. And I realized that some of the bedrooms were over, the bedroom on the first floor, 11.8 square meters was too big, because it's now a double bedroom, and a double bedroom means I need 50 square meters, and I only had 40 square meters. So I knew that this wasn't going to work. He did a home office 6.8, but he didn't understand it. He also added a storeroom of 0.8. So that actually, when you add the store to the home office, he kind of understood what I was saying, but not totally. That's more than 7.5. So that's now 2 bedrooms. So it would get refused. Wow. The other thing I noticed is on this top story, we've got nice open plan space, but of course, where's the bedroom? Well, the bedroom is 30 square meters. So I knew that was going to get refused. So I've gone to redo the plans, and here are the plans. And you can see now that all the bedrooms are under 11.5 square meters. Everyone has a home office, which will become a second bedroom when it's let out. But for planning terms, it's not a bedroom because it's less than 7.5. Everything is over 37 square meters, which you need as a minimum for a flat. And then this top story, it was only 25 square meters on the business rates. But what I did was put a door downstairs and blocked off the staircase. And then all of the staircase is included in the square meterage. And also storage. When you create storage, anything less than 1.5 meters, between 1.5 and 90 centimeters, you can count as floor space if it's storage. So you just draw some storage. And we went from 25 square meters, totally not allowed, to 40.3. So once you understand the rules, you can make them work in your favor. And to the left and to the right of this building, they're just 3 flats. But because I understood the rules, I got 4 flats approved. And that's like another massive uplift. So understanding these rules can make a massive, massive difference.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
Extraordinary.
I think we're. I think I'm going to stop there.
Thank you,
you,
Morpheus. I know Kung Fu.
Thank you.
Now you know planning.
Yeah, that was like a data
download.
in the Matrix. For those of you that know what I'm talking about. So much there I never even could have imagined. I bet even the planners interpret the rules, and there can be I suppose that what's the phrase about put 3 lawyers in a room and they'll all come up with a different interpretation of the law. If you put 3 planning officials in a room together, they'll come up with 3 interpretations, won't they, Toby? That
is true, Simon, but planning in the UK is a rule-based system. Right. And it's not what the planners think, it's what the inspectors think when they get it wrong. And so, like case law, eventually there's a judgment, and that there's clarity. Sometimes the planners don't know what they're doing, and I know more than they do. That's a good place to be. But the thing is, you don't have to remember all this stuff. All you have to do is to join the A.P.P.I, because once you join the A.P.P.I, you've got access to people like me and to other experts. And this sort of stuff is not, you don't go on training courses on it. You just develop it by being a practitioner. And so that just goes back to your point earlier, Simon, that you need to constantly learn. You can't constantly be buying more training courses. You just need to be in a network where this stuff you pick it up by osmosis because you're in with like-minded people.
Sure,
for me, that's what A.P.P.I is all about.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously read my mind there, Morpheus. You took what I was about to say. That imagine being close to somebody like Toby who can help you through the planning process. Toby, can you just pop up the slide with the rules on again just for a moment?
Well, if someone just, I could do that, or I could put a little link to the document.
Oh, okay, let's do that.
Shall I do that? Because I know there are other people that you want to interview, and I don't want to hog too much time.
Can you, Toby, can you give a sort of an example of how you've helped somebody recently, perhaps, maybe around planning, or any other member of the A.P.P.I that you've sort of given a little tip to? Yeah,
a recent case where someone thought a deal didn't stack because they thought they couldn't get a permission for 2-bedroom property in location, and I was able to say, oh, all you need to do is because the thing about these bedroom sizes, once it's over 11.5 square meters, it doesn't matter how big it is. So I was able to say, just make a very big bedroom with 2 light switches. And then once you've got planning permission and you built your property, you might want to put a wall down the middle. And that is totally legal. It's totally legal. On the day that the planning is decided, it was compliant. Afterwards, the planners have no power if you want to develop your property, if you want to move where the kitchen is or the bathroom is. They only have power on the day of determination, the day they look at the application. So I enabled someone who went, I'm going to have to throw this deal away, to actually, this is still a fantastic deal and I'm going ahead with it.
Terrific. Okay. So is it fair to say then that anyone can benefit from support within the that the A.P.P.I has to offer?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I suppose this one is a self I've forgotten the phrase. Would you say then that eventually people have to collaborate and work together to achieve the most success?
It's very hard to do everything on your own, and you never really get the best results. And I think the market getting harder in terms of interest rates going up, it means people need to think more You know, you could have just bought a cheap property and got a cheap mortgage. Now you need to think more about how you're going to make money out of it. And I think collaboration is the way to do that, because collaboration is the best way to get different points of view and also access different skill sets. And it's that knowledge that enables you to have that competitive edge.
And also we have no agenda apart from being professional and helping people. There is no agenda. We're independent.
Yeah.
We're self-serving. We look after each other, and that the agenda is to look after each other and be professional. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine folks being able to pick Toby's brains. There's a lot of knowledge up there that you can benefit from. Before I move on to Leanne, Lindsay, I want to just ask you a quick question or clarify a point. Anyone can join the A.P.P.I, can't they? And we've got an application process and a vetting system.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little insight into how that works, please?
Yeah, I mean, basically what happens is the vetting process is not like a lender doing a credit search and the underwriting or whatever. Quite simply, the vetting is all about the fact that you are in property, that you are prepared to adopt a code of conduct and be professional and be one of the good people. We're checking that you've done a certain element of training, but we don't want you to have got certain marks in training or whatever. We want to understand what strategies you get involved in, where you're operating geographically, so that we can link you up with other people. So it's a vetting process, I suppose. In theory, I think some of you have heard of this concept before, which is, look, we'll let people join as long as they share who they are. And of course, ultimately, if somebody's a bit naughty, we will reserve the right to, if you like, name and shame. It's got to be that way. Hopefully that will never happen. But it's called, stand up and be counted, be prepared to be professional. So the vetting application process is just to make sure that you are, not full-time in property, but you're committed to property, and that you're prepared to comply with the code of conduct and be professional.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Okay, well, let's welcome our next guest who has passed that vetting process. Leanne Hennigan, welcome along.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. First, I think it'd be great if you would tell us a little bit about your background, how you started in property and where you are now.
I've been property investing or being a landlord for 18 years. I built my portfolio of the difficult old-fashioned way of saving up 40% to then get a buy-to-let mortgage. So I bought my first property, let that out, released the equity from it, and bought my second property. And then as I acquired money through redundancy or other means, I invested it in property because it's a lot better than putting it in the bank. So it was intended to be like my pension fund or to help put my kids through university. But I've since done, since my children are older, I've done more training and I've learned methods of creative finance and got a lot more knowledge than I had before, and a lot more information about strategy, which I'm just dying to get out and apply now.
Brilliant. So, like I said at the beginning, you're continuing to learn as well by being part of the A.P.P.I. So, when it appeared in your life, you decided to get involved. What was it that compelled you to join?
I think I've done the training I had done. I kind of felt a bit cut adrift when I'd finished with my mentoring. Well, right, now I've got to stand on my own 2 feet and do something.
Yeah.
And I just felt I wanted a bit more support and a bit more just to be able to pick other people's brains that have been doing it for longer or have done applied different strategies, because obviously I've done things a different way, and now I'm going to look at new strategies and new ways of creative finance and recycling my equity or my capital to build things quicker than I have done so far.
Yeah, and you said a very interesting point there. You felt cut adrift, and I think that's common with a lot of people who sort of do an education program or training program. Then all of a sudden they're out there in the big bad world, and it can be quite scary, and it can actually cause people to just stop dead. So you've got this then, so now you're part of the A.P.P.I, you've got this collaborative network and group of people around you, amongst other things. which aspect of the A.P.P.I do you think is most relevant to you right now, based on your current level of experience?
I think it's like having a community that are all mentors, because everybody's on their own journey. People have got different levels of experience, but they may have come across the problems that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the old adage, two heads are better than one. If you're stuck with something, the more people that have got experience that you can run an idea past, the more solutions you're going to get and more ideas of how to solve your problem.
Mm-hmm. And that very neatly brings me on to Solve My Property Problem networking event, which we have online, and I know you attend that regularly.
Yeah.
Have you picked up, bits, or have you had a specific problem of your own solved there?
Yeah. So fortunately for me, after months of looking in my chosen investment area and things, I ended up with 2 properties coming to me direct from the vendors that weren't in my area at all, but they're close enough to me to work on. One's in Coventry and one's in Leicester, but they fell in my lap at the same time, and I've only got a certain amount of capital, so I didn't know which way round to do it. And I was looking at putting my capital down in the property one and flipping that and selling it to try and get some more capital out of it. And then that came with its own problems, because the house at the moment has no bathroom in it, so it's not mortgageable. So I was thinking, I might have to go through bridging, or I'm going to have to be really careful how I work that out. And I'd need to do that one first to get enough capital to put down to buy the second property. But having discussed that on an A.P.P.I call, I was given lots of other information, and I've now got ideas of how to save money to get both projects done and to be able to keep both of them as buy-to-lets, where I thought I would have to sell at least one of them because I'm early on in getting things going again.
Without that information, would you have let them both go at any point, do you think?
I think I probably would have got into it. I wouldn't have let them both go because I really wanted to get going with them, but I probably would have got into a pickle with money. And again, just because there's so many things you need to know, the experience and the ways around things, like with Toby and the planning details. I think I'd probably have started this, the house with no bathroom that's not mortgageable, but I could well have run out of time on a bridging group and ended up out of pocket with that one.
Yeah.
And again, because they've both come to us at the same time, I could potentially have been having to run 2 projects at once, whereas now I think it's going to pan out better.
So all was helpful in the end. Well,
Yeah,
brilliant.
well,
Thank you. Before we move on, Leanne, how do you see that the A.P.P.I differentiates from other groups and organisations in the industry?
I think you've got all the problem solving and experience of people there, but it's all about collaborating. Everybody wants to give back. There's nobody trying to make a quick buck or sell courses or anything. I was spending quite a bit of money travelling up and down the country going to networking events with my partner. So we were paying to attend, and the fuel going up there and back, in the hope that we'd make some contacts and be able to pick some brains, but you never knew who was going to be there. Whereas the A.P.P.I are there, the WhatsApp group and things, you can message them at any time, they're going to get back to you, and it's all done from your own home, so you don't have to cancel if you've got COVID or children that are ill or anything like that. You can just get on with it, and you know that somebody has gone through what you're facing at the moment. Yeah.
I mean, we've all had a torrid time with, the last couple of years, but one of the, I suppose, beneficial byproducts is that we've got so used to this sort of thing and being remote and communicating and connecting. And actually, one of the things that we've got, it's worth mentioning as part of your membership, is that you've got the members map, and you can see where members are based and where they live, so that then you can contact and say, hey, well, I live just down the road for you. Wouldn't it be great if we had a cup of tea together and with no agenda perhaps, or maybe you want to get together and do a joint venture, who knows, but that is one of the terrific aspects of the A.P.P.I. Well, thank you, Leanne, for sharing your knowledge. Folks, I'm sure so far you can see how great the support is within the A.P.P.I. And just actually to get a gauge of where we are, can I get sort of a yes in the chat box for those of you who can see the value of being part of this community? Just give me a yes there if you can see the value that this community has. Terrific. We've got several coming through there. Fantastic. Thank you. Now, you can also enjoy more than just your membership. You can more than just within your membership a networking. There's also a library of information in the members area on our website. There's useful documents there as well. You can use this all of the time because it will make your investing a lot more easy, I promise you. So folks, I don't know how much help you'll get. That's kind of up to you. You've got to sometimes ask for help, but I do know that the help you will get will progress you in a more dynamic way than you can if you say left to your own devices. Lindsay, I asked Leanne there how the A.P.P.I differentiates to other organizations. How do you see it's different to established bodies within the industry currently?
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, apart from the, if you like, independent, the no agenda, the professional type mark idea, so the adherence to code of conduct. I think it's many avenues of support and help. It's not just one. So it's not just a reference library. It's the linking up. So it's individuals linking up. I particularly like the idea of the buddying. So you can link up with somebody in your area. You can link up with somebody in the area where your strategy is, or you can link up with some experts. There's like I said, there's no set agenda. There's no subscription in terms of having to get involved with, as Leon said, another set of educations. It's a free-spirited professional organisation to help each other, and that's very exciting. There's multiple areas of help. There's loads and loads of pockets, which I think you're going to time me in a second to go through a whole lot of the benefits. There's lots going on, and it's just the ability to sort of tap into it.
Yeah, I mean, you Lindsay are obviously very proactive of getting members to collaborate, and the ideas that you brought along. There's clearly a ton of dynamic activity around this group of people. I mean, just in what Toby shared and how Leanne has explained how she's been helped. I think now we have to answer the question that's been in everyone's mind since the beginning. How do people actually get involved? Okay.
Well, you simply click on something which I'm sure will come up at some stage this evening. So you're paying the ridiculously beneficial and valued amount of £20 per month or £200 per annum. And then you're filling in an application form and away you go. You can have a real trawl through the website, and this is definitely a continuous usage type of membership. You can tap into the networking meeting once a month and start buddying and connecting with people. I mean, a fantastic thing to do would be to literally go through as many members as you possibly can, learning best practice. How do you get started? What would you do differently? And so on and so forth. So yes, you have to be a little bit proactive, or you can just be a member and know that if there's ever an issue or a challenge, you can reach out and somebody will undoubtedly help you. Why? Because you've heard, the credo anyway, and it's true that as people progress in property anyway, and I find it is unique in our world. Once we've created a platform of, if you like, a roof over our head and food on our table, we are all prepared as professionals to help other people.
Yeah, so it's simple. Click the link that's in the chat box now, the one that says the apppi.co.uk/join-us. There will be on the other end of that link a form to fill in, and that's where you enroll as a member. We have two rates of membership: £20 a month by direct debit, or you can pay a one-off of £200 for the whole year. So Lindsay, that is incredible value. Why don't you, in 45 seconds or less, list what people get for that 20 quid a month?
Okay, you gain an ever-increasing list of preferred traders that we have identified. You have a recommended reading list. You have an exclusive Sold My Property networking meeting once a month. You have a member exclusive Facebook and WhatsApp group, invitation to our annual conference and awards ceremony, which is going to be fantastic. You've got access to, again, non-agendarized how-to documents and videos, listing on interactive members map, which I love, where you can meet other members in your area or in your strategy area, discounts and incentives from approved industry sectors, like, for example, Together Bridging cut off something like 0.5% of the initial fees, and there'll be more and more and more of that from industry lenders as we go forward. A clear code of conduct saying, I am one of the good people, part of a collective voice to councils and parliament, which is going to be ever growing, and basically involvement and a voice in what's going to happen in the future to the government and councils. So it's very exciting, but we need members. The more members we have, the louder our voice. So please join this evening.
Yeah. That would have been under 50 seconds had it not been for the embellishment.
Embellishment. Okay.
Well, I think that's incredible value for money. I mean, in similar groups, you get sort of maybe a couple of those things, or, you know, one or the other. What we're trying to do is obviously be as broad ranging as we can, and being as valuable in each of those aspects. I just want to say to everyone, being part of this organization, you will be able to learn from others. I hope that's has come across as being very clear this evening. Yeah. You might have been investing for a while, and I can bet you've changed your strategy, your way of working, even forgotten stuff. I mean, that's easy to do, but your membership allows you to tap into all of these different channels of knowledge, if you like. The monthly networking event, the buddy system, which we've really only touched on, but that's, you know, a much more closer one-on-one sort of scenario, and it'll help you remind yourself of stuff and learn new techniques. I hope, and I'm sure people have learned new stuff about planning approval this evening. I know I have. On top of that, you're also part of a network that is closely watching the legislation to keep you up to date. Your membership means you are closely connected by 1 or 2 degrees of separation, that's all, to those that make policy. We've got working groups in action, haven't we, Lindsay, that are developing these communication lines that you...
Yeah, we have indeed, and our vision, and in actuality, ultimately, if you are a landlord and you're a good person, you will want the A.P.P.I kite mark badge on everything you do, and it will be recognised by, for example, our service providers, who will give you a differential discount as the time progresses. We're building that all the time, and people go, oh, okay, yeah, they're a member of an A.P.P.I, right? We'll treat them seriously. So this element of professionalism is beginning to cascade through, and it's growing. It's growing, and we want members. We want you to join. We want you to join.
Definitely. So just to round off, we're here to sort of say it's hard to be successful on your own. So let us walk down the path to success with you. We will be with you every step of the way. You need a team to support you. You need a collaborative network around you. It works far better than being an individual. Even individual sportsmen have a team around them. So click the link that you see in the right now. Or if you just into your browser, the apppi.co.uk/join-us, you'll get through to our joining page. Thank you all for joining us, and also to our guests, Leanne. Thank you for sharing with us. Toby as well.
Thank you,
again,
Toby.
Always, it amazes me how much knowledge you've got up there. And Lindsay, thank you as well.
Thank you very much,
also,
Simon.
if you want to scan the QR code, you can get linked through to the joining page that way on your phone or whatever scanning device you've got. I think it's a phone. I don't do QR codes very much. So there we go. Join the APPI. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Thank you very much. Enjoy and
Thanks.
calmly get stronger with support. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I'm just looking at the chat box. A great tribe. Thank you, Jill. Lovely comment. Love that. Thank you.